happening, everybody? Everybody out there in podcast land, this is G-Man in the studio for What's the Matter podcast with the beautiful Kel. How you doing, Kel?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Boy, we got a little bit different room today.
A little different space.
Yeah, it's if anybody doesn't know, we kept threatening you guys that we're going to be incorporating video. And last week we're moving furniture and everything.
We're still moving furniture. Let's be honest. We have a lot of work to do.
Still moving furniture.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
And we got the couch.
I know.
We got the green couch.
Yeah. Remember how stressed Adrian was last week?
Yeah. The $6,000 couch she got for $200.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Should tell you about the rug too.
Oh. What happened with the rug?
So that thing apparently...
The Oriental that was left here?
I shouldn't be telling secrets, but
the Oriental that was left here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth a lot of money. A lot of money.
Don't leave your stuff here.
Douchebag wanted it back. I'm not getting it.
Jeez, man. So episode 47. Now, I do hear this is actually going to be the control room, everybody. But we missed last week. And were you jonesing?
I was jonesing, dude. I was ready.
I felt like something was missing.
Well, I came down and was ready, and we had a meeting instead.
I know. I pulled the rug out from
You pulled the rug.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
But
I can be flexible.
But you saw why. With all that stuff, I don't think we could have even done this.
No,
week.
we really couldn't have. You and your son did such an amazing job in here. Getting all this stuff.
Just had to take, kind of a little bit of
got the door taken out. We now have a straight wall there. That's amazing.
So, there's a vision. I'll apologize right now because this thing is like totally black and I look like JD Vance right now. My eyes are like all dark. I could be in a scary movie right now, but I'm not possessed. I'm trying not to look at you guys too much. But episode 47, What's the Matter with Nomads, is what we teased. I was kind of like looking for these little taglines.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically when you think about nomads, the contrast is there are people that need to have roots.
Yes.
R-O-O-T-S.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people that need to have roots. R-O-U-T-E-S.
What a great point. I love it.
And those two are quite opposite,
mm-hmm.
but that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the question is that do nomads, the whys they do these things, and is it about freedom? Is it about survival? Certainly, there are
adventure,
times where
curiosity.
There were nomads, and it was about survival. Sometimes it's about escape.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about some good stuff, I think, as I was looking at this. But what is a nomad? What it isn't? As I said, some people need roots to feel alive, and some people need movement to feel alive.
Right.
They don't want to be stuck in the same place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I can respect that. So, as we always do, let's go ahead and give our sponsors and everybody that puts this together a little shout out. Of course, World Matters Incorporated. We have a big day on Friday coming up. And of course, the creator and producer of the show, Big Bongo Productions. And we are talking with some sponsors. You go ahead, let's give her some love. She's going to be here next month.
It's prom season.
It is.
So now is the time to talk to Just in Time Tux.
Yes.
Go to justintimetux.com.
Yeah.
Justintimetux.com. We have the best selection and the best service. No question about it. So I know those proms are coming up. The spring weddings are coming up.
Talk about what sets you apart from them going down to
concierge service, 100%. We walk you through the whole thing. We are right there with you the whole way. It's not like some warehouse where men go, if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
And they can sell you something off the rack. They can order you something, whatever. It's like shopping at Walmart.
You kind of did a Yoda advertising there. You said things backwards.
Did I?
I like it.
But yeah, so the other places, they just don't have the service we do. They don't care. They don't get to know the customer. These people become family to us. Many of these, a lot of times the prom boys will get them both years. Wedding folks, their whole families will come.
Ever get anybody that goes 3 years in a row? Because it's normally junior seniors, but you could maybe have this.
I've only been there. This is only my first year, so I can imagine that happens.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of them that go to multiples.
Right.
They're in one school, their girlfriend's in another, or they're like the date boy.
Or maybe a sophomore brother or sister.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure.
Going with the older senior member, stuff like that.
Absolutely. And there's always those popular boys that everybody wants to be their date, so they end up going to 5 or 6 different proms. We had one last year that went to 4 different ones.
What crack up.
It was great.
Having a lottery.
He just kept the suit. We traded out.
So just in time talk.
Just in time tux.
Tux.com.
And we're going to be exhibiting tomorrow at the Chamber of Commerce at the Convention Center. Yeah.
We're going to be there too.
Oh, you're kidding.
Booth 461.
Sweet. I don't know what booth we are, but come on down. Everybody come on down to the Convention Center tomorrow. And the Chamber of Commerce is having like a local expo.
It's officially a party now.
It's big. Having it at the Convention Center is huge, but it's a local business expo for chamber members, and we're all going to be there with our stuff. So come on by. We'll have a raffle for a free rental, and drop your card in our box and get in the game.
Good. Reno Convention Center, everybody that's local.
Kathleen Hanley is the owner, and she's the one you'll mostly be dealing with. We give out her number primarily, and then as individual stylists, when we meet them, give them ours, and then start taking them over. But
well, you better give them her phone number then.
Oh, that's a good question. Let me look it up real quick. I don't have it.
I have it somewhere. Oh, it's on that phone there that I can't tap into.
It is 775
560
775 560 1751. 775-560-1751 is Kathleen Hanley at Just in Time Tux. Give her a call and she'll set you up with one of us here on site. Yeah. And we'll get you taken care of. Going back to your prom years.
So let's get out of this hole I'm digging right now. And so we want to define nomads across time, right? So people think about traditional when you think about what's
like Sherpas and, big groups of people humping across the land and or the Dust Bowl.
That's what I was getting ready to say, the Dust Bowl, and even further back than that. Think about
Native Americans,
even
India,
even early man,
Egypt, absolutely.
So
we had to be
the pastoral, seasonal movement, right? Now they were also, for last couple thousands of years, routes. How are we going to distinguish that?
Roots and routes. Let's say roots and routes. Roots is in the ground. So routes is travel.
Yeah. So, but some people pronounce routes as routes.
Right.
Route
56, Route 66. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, but there were trade nomads where they did movement for commerce. Right. So think about that distinction. There were forced nomads, sometimes because of war.
Sure.
Some sort of displacement,
famine,
whether it was seasonal, economic things like that. Of course, we as a country, we're dealing with that stuff right now. When you're talking about whether somebody comes here for economic pressure or displacement. So we got traditional nomads, trade nomads, forced nomads, and then we're going to also talk about some modern nomads.
Digital nomads.
Yeah, where you got digital nomads working remotely, the mobile type of thing, or not just working. What about nomads that have the van life, the RV across the country?
I could technically do that.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. And then career nomads, where you're talking about contract employees, short-term stars coming in.
Absolutely.
Hired gun. I like that.
Fractional executives.
And I like that.
I want to be a fractional executive.
So a moment of clarity is that what we're talking about today, where being a nomad isn't necessarily being on vacation. It's a lifestyle in many cases that's built around movement. Right. So let's talk about those two things, roots and routes. Why do you think some people crave stability while some people crave mobility? Where the stability, you get safety, you're going to have community,
consistency,
forge your identity, right? Whereas when you're craving mobility, you have freedom and you can explore your curiosity. And as far as your identity goes, it's a good way to reinvent.
Absolutely.
So talk about those things. Why do people crave stability while some people crave mobility?
I can actually speak to this because I used to crave stability. I'm a Taurus, and we are very sedentary. Once we get rooted in somewhere, we're very grounded, we're very rooted. We like to flourish where we are and don't like to move around a lot. I was very fortunate as a kid because we never moved. Never.
But it seems like you have.
Lately I have, and I hate it. But my parents, my parents lived in that house for 42 years.
Oh, wow.
And I left home at 21.
That's the kind of stuff that horror flicks are made out of.
Right.
42 years.
42 years.
Was there any haunting?
Oh, gosh, no. No, they bought it from the people who built it who were not home builders.
Oh.
And they paid $20,000 for that house. They paid off their mortgage
Wow.
1 month at a time, $121, 1 month at a time for 30 years.
Wow.
And wondered why I struggled with a $1,700 mortgage. They wondered why I couldn't keep up and why I had no money and why they had no idea, like no concept of modern life.
Yeah.
And they bought it from the people who had built it. And those people, it had issues. It had big issues. And my dad did a great job with it over the years, adding on and changing the siding and dealing with we had a septic tank. Dad only got 2 weeks vacation a year and he wouldn't fly. So we would take the travel trailer for a long time and then a motorhome, and we would go on weekends. They would seasonal park the trailer an hour and a half away in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and we would drive up on weekends. And my mother was a travel fanatic. We traveled a lot. Like I've been all over the world. Mm-hmm. But they didn't want to live anywhere else.
No,
and their parents did too. They both all stayed the same place forever.
Right. Now, why do you think others, though, why do you think that what's, I guess, the contrast of what somebody's looking for, whether they want that to have the roots and crave stability, or versus somebody that wants and craves mobility?
There's so many factors that can go into that. And I think it has a lot to do with your goals, aside from your base personality, whether you're more mobile or more sedentary. But it depends on what your goals are. It depends on what your long-term future is. If you want, if you're trying to build some big empire, you're not going to want to be flirting around all over the place. You need a base for customers, whoever your audience is or whoever you serve. They want stability. They want consistency. So if you are wanting to serve like that, you need the same thing. I mean, look at how upended we get when, like legacy businesses close. I cried when Big Lots closed. Like I literally cried. That hurt.
Yeah.
I loved that place. I loved that store. I loved the concept, the business model, everything about it. It's everything. It was absolutely the way this country should be run.
Big Lots. Okay.
When you count on something, you expect it to be there forever and ever and ever. We have legacy businesses in this world that have been around for hundreds of years.
Oh, yeah.
I worked for Whitman's Chocolates, 150 years.
Those were good, too.
Got bought out by Russell Stover. This is and we're going to see a lot more of this, and we need to stop it. Like we as a collective community really need to watch for this, because everything is starting to monopolize again. We have all kinds of bullshit going on that's way against the law that nobody's enforcing, and it's pissing me the hell off. Yeah. Spirit Airlines just went down. United is trying to buy American.
Hey, and anybody that's listened to the show knows that just like we're talking about nomads, and just like nomads do, we sometimes wander really far away
we get a little
from where we're going right now. So
let's pull it back in.
So back to the program. So I think, what do you think about, as far as like the contrast between people that are craving stability versus people that are craving mobility? The hidden commonality is that both are trying to solve meaning and belonging. Whether you're craving stability or whether you're craving mobility, you are both trying to solve your meaning and belonging, no matter which approach that it is.
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way, but I get what you're saying. That makes absolute sense, because some people just know that where they are is where they belong.
Yeah.
Generations. As a matter of fact, the area I grew up in is generationally integrated like that. When I went back to my 10-year high school reunion, I was one of two people who'd actually moved out of town, not just out of the area, but out of town. And it's probably not quite that way so much now, but back then, families stayed in households and kids grew up there and moved next door or down the street or
so
around.
It kind of depends on what your particular jam.
Depends what your jam is, and it depends on how you were raised. Too.
A lot of factors lead to it. And you could also evolve, because you may be a homebody and you get to a certain point in life. 20 years later, again, you're going to be a different person. So if you were void of, say, traveling and adventure for a while, and you get this epiphany and say, you know what? I got a short journey here. I'm going to start making some changes. And then you could totally develop this other, again, identity and discover this whole new world where you started out as being somebody that wants these roots, but they changed to routes, right? And so yeah. So that's good. Now, what is the extent of your journey so far where you could say, I was a nomad for a little while?
Oh,
Have
no.
you never, ever?
No,
You've
never.
never been a nomad?
Nope. I've traveled a lot. I
Yeah.
used to travel I used to go somewhere at least once a month.
Or
When I
went
rock and roll.
somewhere and said, what's the longest trip you've taken?
10 days,
10 days?
Mhm.
Did you go?
2 weeks maybe.
Was it like outside of the country?
Probably my longest one was to Finland. That was 2
Mhm.
weeks. Yeah.
Was that so that's kind of like an adventure. And then was it very organized, like touristy?
Nope.
Or you
I
went
worked for Nokia.
Oh, that's not a vacation. Dang it.
I haven't vacationed
Uh-huh.
in decades.
Now, what-
I don't vacation. I go, like, if I go somewhere else, there's a reason. Like,
Yeah.
it's for a conference or it's a concert or to see something or to meet somebody or whatever. I don't ever go anywhere just to do nothing.
Well, you would say you're still a very stability
Oh, yeah.
driven.
I mean, look at, I tried to move to Florida and had to come screaming back. I fucking hated it.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Like if you were like, say, forced to do something like go on a TV show and you're going to be like in the Amazon for like 2 months or something like that. Again, that was just a rant.
Yeah,
Something.
not that. I could do, I would actually
Like traveling
like
to
to.
Tibet.
Like to explore digital nomadism now. I
Right.
don't have the money. I would like to once I
Not
get
yet.
not yet. Once
Yeah.
I get my business going,
Yeah.
I'll be able to do that. And I want to do that now. I'll always have a home base. I'll never give up my address just to travel around. But I would like to be able to go like do retreats and be gone for a month at a time.
You should.
Yeah.
Should.
And I'm also trying to get out of the country, so I need to start traveling to expat locations and figure out where the hell to go.
Now we got started a little late today, but in the spirit of kind of staying on a general time frame there, let's do some laughing crickets.
Okay.
I forgot the name of this segment here. Has it been that long? This makes me feel better. All right, now last time I did this, Kel, you got distracted right in the middle of a joke about the penguin. Remember?
Oh, I know.
So I have one
Long one? Okay, I'll pay attention.
Yes, that I need you to focus on that one. But
Okay.
let's get you warmed up here.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're talking about certain subject matter today. I think we're going to have a good expansive conversation. But back to laughing crickets. So we're talking about groups, different kind of groups and everything. So what kind of group of people never get angry? Never get angry.
I don't know.
Jeez, it's the name of the show. Nomads. I snuck that
cute.
one.
That's
I snuck
cute.
that one in. Now, of course, euphemisms, different descriptions and things like that. So what would be another word that you would use instead of nomads? What's a different term that you would gravitate towards?
Other than nomads, but the same thing, like
Yeah.
a wanderers.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. I came up with vagabond.
Vagabond. That's a good one.
You like that one?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, this next joke, the final joke, is about this vagabond. He's a ventriloquist.
Okay.
All right, Kel, get your finger off your mouse.
I'm trying to post like the show on Facebook. But
I
go
know
ahead.
you said that last time. It's a really long joke.
Okay.
You're gonna have to pay attention. Okay, so this ventriloquist, he'd basically given up on life, and he became a drunk, right? A drunkard vagabond. He just hopped trains, moving from town to town. One day he gets off in this small town. On his way to the nearest bar, if you were a vagabond, would you be going to bars all the time?
No.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I would. I'm sure I would.
Catch a
Yeah,
place
yeah.
to rest your bones.
You meet people, the locals. Yeah. Yes, I
Heck
would.
Yeah, for sure. And then just again, if you're going to go down that trail, I would imagine, okay, I'm going to drink my life away. Anyway, he's on his way to this, go to this nearest bar, and he spots this small dog in the alley. And he goes, he's a ventriloquist.
Okay.
Remember, he goes, perfect. He scoops this dog up, proceeds to the bar. So when the bartender turns, hey, you want a drink? And gets it ordered, and he has this dog sitting right next to him. So before the bartender could protest, some people don't want a dog in the bar, right? So before the bartender could say anything, the guy says, I'll have a beer. And then he makes the dog say, I'll have one too. So the bartender's like, WTF? So he just pours the 2 beers and puts them in front of him. So the drunk vagabond, he drinks his beer, but when the bartender turns away, just like wham, he just slams his other beer real quick. So when the bartender comes back to them, he thinks that the dog drank the beer, and he's, they order another beer, and he throws his voice again. So the dog obviously ordered one as well. And this time the bartender, he's not able to contain his curiosity. He rubs his hands. Am I out of it? Or is that dog talking? And then the drunk says, yeah, he's been talking ever since he's been a little pup. And then the bartender goes, would you ever consider selling that dog? And then the drunk frowns. And he says, well, it means a lot to me. Normally I would never consider it, but as you can see, I'm down on my luck. And it may be best for the dog to have a good owner like you. But I have to say, I wouldn't take less than $1,000. Bartender looks in the register, and then he answers back. He goes, all I got's $500 now. Can I owe you the rest? And the drunk frowns again. He goes, yeah, I guess, but I don't have really too much of a choice. Okay, it's a deal. So the drunk finishes his beer, leaves the bar $500 richer. So a month or so later, this guy happens upon the same town. He wanders into the same bar in a drunken stupor. He totally forgets about the previous encounter with the bartender, but the same bartender was there, recognizes him instantly. The bartender walks right over to this guy and says, you son of a bitch, you sold me that dog. He hasn't said a word to me since. And the drunk said, really? That's strange. Where is he? Do you still have him? And the bartender sighs and says, yeah, I've got him tied up in the back. So the drunk insists on going and seeing the dog. So once he's out back, drunk leans down, rubs the dog on the head, scratches behind his ears and says, hey, I told you that you had to talk to this guy just like you talked to me. What's wrong? So the ventriloquist throws his voice again. And then the dog replies back, I ain't saying nothing until he gives you that other $500. Oh, I don't know. I think I struck out on that one. It's too long. That's funny, though.
It's cute.
I got to figure out a better way to deliver that. All right, so let's get down to the main matter here, which is the whys, Kel. Why do people become nomads? I've identified survival. We talked about that, right? Freedom, identity, and economics. So let's compare past nomads to modern nomads. In the past, there were nomads that were forced to this type of life through climate, animals, sometimes back in the dinosaur age, predators, climate, seasonal, survival. What about if they had to go because of some tribe or warring army that came in and was taking over a territory or something like that, and they get displaced? And then, of course, we talked about trade routes. So imagine, Kel, if you could, what type of nomad would Kel be if she had to deal with these factors?
Okay.
Like, imagine, like, what would you do? What would you be like? Would you be like a Amazon warrior princess, or would you kind of be forced to kind of go with the flow, back in the hunters and gatherers days?
No, I would definitely be a leader and probably planning the route. You know what I mean? Like figuring out where we are, where we're going.
You could be like a undercover scout.
Sort of. Yeah, like
Maybe
the
something
orienteer.
like, yeah, I like it. Now, in the modern, we're talking being forced to be a nomad with all these things. So the modern nomads sometimes are forced to be a nomad because of rent costs, sometimes because of remote work. Sometimes they're forced to be a modern day nomad because of burnout. Remember last week going through the breakthroughs after a breakdown? Sometimes you have to break down, figure out that you're in a burnout. Sometimes you have to move on. Another modern reason that people do become nomads is adventure. sometimes when people tell me what they do, they like travel 6 months out of the year and they just go with like a backpack and they've got their
See, I could
friends
never.
kind of like every year they know that they're going to be showing up and stuff.
I
And of
like
course, the
stuff too
communication-
much to be a nomad.
Yeah, comforts of modern civilization.
Yep.
I think a lot like that too.
Yeah, I can't just do the back roughing it thing.
Now
I'm a glamper.
imagine that you're an author. We had one of the episodes on what's the matter with authors with Adrian. How are you doing with that, by the way? Have you followed up on that?
No.
Oh,
I haven't had any
no.
time.
That happens a lot. So if you were writing a book about somebody like you,
Mhm.
that something happened where you had to have an identity reset and you chose the identity reset that you needed to go off and be not you necessarily, but you're writing a book about somebody that needs an identity reset and they need to become a nomad. What would your point of reference be as you wrote this book?
Spiritual archaeology. It's where you go and dig into your past, your ancestry, how you got to be who you are today. And the only way you can do that is by going back and digging through your family, digging through your parents, digging through your conditioning, digging through, I call that spiritual archaeology.
So is this something where, let's say, even from a domestic standpoint from the United States, right? And if you found out, hey, my great-great-grandmother used to live in Illinois, and you actually got the address and you found out that the house was still standing. So this is the type of thing where you could say, go on a road trip, go up to the house and say, hey,
Visit
this
grave
sounds weird.
sites, visit birthplaces,
Now,
visit.
what do you do when you're there in the moment? Do you like try to soak something in, or what is your routine when you get to one of these monuments?
I've done some of this, and I will just kind of go and just absorb the energy. If it's somewhere I've been before, like somewhere from my childhood that I've gone back to, I can't compare and contrast what I remembered and how it felt to me back then and who I was and who I thought I was and what I thought life was versus what it is today.
Does it feel like a meditation when you're doing this?
In a way, it can. Not the typical, what most people think of meditation, sitting in a lotus position, chanting
No, I
Om.
mean like you clear your
But
mind.
Yeah, yes, that's exactly right. You're very present. Like
soak in some odors,
it's
sounds.
like presence with time travel. Like you're there and you're present and you're in it today and as it is, but you're also traveling back to how it was and feeling that connection. I got to do that at where my mother grew up.
Now, how would that story end in your book about your nomad?
Oh, it would be the person coming all the way back to themselves.
Full circle.
Full circle with knowing, choosing who they are, how they want to be, in the world, rather than just living by what their familial stories told them. It can be things like just going through old boxes. I had to do this in Florida. This is where I came up with the term, because I had been schlepping boxes of stuff all around the country that I hadn't opened in decades, some of them in decades, literally decades. I knew it was stuff I wanted to keep. I knew it was stuff I wanted to have, but I didn't use it. I didn't look at it. I didn't open it. I just knew it was there.
Yeah, some sort of sentimental
All kinds of stuff.
value.
Everything from books to memorabilia to little tchotchkes, all kinds of stuff. And I had to pack everything up and move to Florida and then move all the way back. So before I did that, I wanted to go through as much of that stuff as possible and get rid of crap that I absolutely just didn't resonate with anymore. And there was a lot of it. And it was a bummer because I ended up getting rid of a lot of stuff I now wish I would have kept to move out there. But coming back, there was a lot of stuff I was, you know what? I'm just not paying to move this.
And that's something that when you think about it, if you're going to really lead a nomadic existence, you really can't have a lot of stuff.
No. And
right?
that's why I could never do it.
So looking at, again, those two contrasts between past nomads who were forced to do it because of climate, animals, seasonal things, survival, maybe it being attacked, trade routes, and then now our modern day nomads with having to be forced into maybe being mobile because of rent costs, remote work, burnout, adventure, and this identity reset that we just discussed. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say what's the one thing that, or the things that they have in common? Still, even though one was in the past and now there's modern reasons, but what do they all have in common?
Economics. Yeah. A lot of it has to do with economics. Most
Could
people
be.
don't like to move.
Right.
They don't want to go from place to place to place to place to place. That's a very specific personality.
For sure.
And I think a lot of it today is driven by escape. It's driven by distraction. It's driven by dysregulation, thinking that there's something else out there. And it's very much a case of wherever you go, there you are.
Well, it's interesting you said economic too, because the nomad that's committed to their lifestyle of mobility, they're probably, most of them, not wealthy. And so their economic situation is continually something that they have to.
Sure. Absolutely. And in a lot of cases, you'll get people in that are the type that like, they're like, fuck the man, fuck the system. I'm not paying taxes. I'm not this and that. And they're kind of outrunning the system. And I think there's a lot of that. There's no money because they eschew materialism or whatever and think that this is some, spiritually clean life or whatever. There's a lot of that, pilgrimages to India and Egypt, and that's real popular right now. A lot of that kind of quote unquote spiritual travel where people think they're going places and they not think they are. They are going to all these different places and experiencing all these different. A lot of it is based on all the religions that they've heard, so they go in Buddhism or become a monk or go, try and do all that. And I think the ones I've met feel like they're performing happiness. I don't think they really enjoy it. I think they endure it and act like they cover it over with, I made this really shitty decision, but I'm happy. This is wonderful. This is great. And they find ways to make it acceptable. But I don't think a whole lot of people truly enjoy that kind of life. It doesn't turn out with the way our modern day is now, giving up material comfort in some spiritual quest, there's no reason for that. It does nothing for you.
And again, that of course is a personal take. And certainly I would hope that somebody that would go through those things, that it's something, instead of desperation, I'd like to hope that it would be from inspiration and saying things like, again, so I had no thinking or even chance of doing something like that because I was 21 for a month when my first child was born. But for somebody without that tie or obligation, there's a lot of that are doing right now. And I would say that would be kind of cool if in your 20s, maybe even your 30s, this is the time that I'm going to do this. I'm going to kind of have my education set up or a plan for after, or maybe I'm going to do
while
this.
You're
the whole thing while you're doing it, you're always going to have that. Talk about writing a book.
Forget institutional education when you're traveling the world.
So that's a part where I would say that, I don't know, it's when you say that most people are doing it out of a
I'm not. No. I don't think most people are. There's a contingent that do that, thinking that they're going to find something better than what they're leaving behind.
Kind of ballsy. I kind of tip my hat to them for somebody that has the wherewithal, the ability, the opportunity, and they take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
Because, I don't know, like when we go to Costa Rica, I mean, it's just such an awesome place.
Is it?
And there's so many places across the world that we haven't been to that people, of course, share their stories. Like we'd like to go to Greece.
I'm dying to go to Greece. Oh, I'm dying to go to Greece. I want to take a med cruise.
And so just all the stuff that, of course, we read about in the books and the history. And now we know people that came from Greece.
Sure.
And, anyway, there's something about putting your feet somewhere that you read. You can't go to all the places.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Like Machu
and the
Picchu.
food, and it's beautiful.
I want to go to Machu Picchu.
I want to do the whole tropical route. Belize, Bolivia, Ecuador. Costa Rica's a little played out. It's already been run out. Nicaragua,
it's
Colombia.
Definitely Americanized.
Yes, yes. And I don't mind that it's Americanized. It's going to be too expensive.
They love us too. The locals, though, they do take care of you.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because a lot of places don't.
They
a lot
do.
of places say they act like they like the expats, but they really don't.
They do. I mean, because
Nice.
I would go over there and I was kind of like complaining a little bit about some of the things over here, and they were kind of like perplexed, like what? Like America's great. It changed their people used to be impoverished and not really have an opportunity to have
gave them
work.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, but what I came up with as far as like the commonality between past nomads and modern nomads, they both are required to have resilience and adaptation.
Absolutely. Flexibility,
Right.
Adaptability.
Resilience and adaptation. Because things just, I can imagine. I mean, even on vacation, things don't go as planned.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you're not, when you don't have you're not surrounded with things that you know where they are in your home that you can use. Yeah.
You can imagine, like, even in your travels, meeting somebody and they say, hey, yeah, anytime that you're coming through here, if it's consistent every year, you got a place to stay. We got an extra room or whatever. You don't have to worry about it. There's a bond there. And then you come there one time and, oh, George died. He passed away and his wife moved away to family. You're like, oh, what? I was going to stay here this whole week. Now you have to adapt. All kinds of surprises. Or maybe you find out that you're going to be staying in a tent and there's snakes. Now you shouldn't be traveling like something like that if you're afraid of snakes, right?
No.
Can't be a nomad if you're afraid of snakes. All right, now let's.
Well, that's not true. You can't be an outdoor. I think a lot of people, when you say nomad, they get the image in their mind of this outdoorsy dude with a backpack.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Camping in the ground and using fur leaves as a blanket and whatever.
Flint.
That's not as common.
That's a survival.
That's more.
Yeah. That's naked and afraid.
Yeah, kind of. And I mean, that's kind of what the hippie kids did in the 60s.
So let's talk about motivations then. What motivates somebody to do this? So again, in general, do you think that most legitimate nomads, let's call them that the rest of the show, legitimate nomads, where this is their lifestyle,
Professional nomads.
yes, are they moving towards something or away from something?
Probably a little of both.
That's a little deep. I can see that being both.
They're moving towards knowledge and experience and adventure,
And escaping and staying away from, say, the rat race people. Maybe they're really,
family.
Introverted. They like to be very selective. They don't like to be forced into a sardine can with people that they don't like, respect, or want to be around.
Sure.
So what about being motivated by the freedom versus avoidance? So I want your response to be kind of tie it into our last episode with breaking down, having breakthrough in this regard of freedom versus avoidance.
I think there's a combination of a lot of that with people who do this. I think there's a certain amount of just things they want to avoid. Ones that don't have a permanent address can be trying to avoid bills or
They could be on a wanted list,
or they could be trying to escape
on the
law. They could be trying to figure out where they want to put roots down. There's a lot of different reasons why people do it. I think there can be an avoidance of a certain type of order, like you come home and your furniture is always in the same place and your neighbors are the same, and where's that for that familiarity? And some people that's oppressive, and they mundane, or they just get tired of it. I definitely do.
What do you do to change things up when you start feeling like that?
I tend to isolate. I tend to kind of pull back and go into my own online worlds and start exploring things and trying to learn things. It's not as easy for me to just pick up and travel somewhere. I don't have that kind of money. I would if I did. I love to travel.
Not yet.
Not yet. But I didn't for a long time. I got so sick that I couldn't travel for a very long time. Well, first of all, the airlines fucked everything up. I was priority elite with Continental for 17 consecutive years, and that got ruined when United bought them. And then, of course, prices went insane, and it's just stupid. Flying sucks so bad, and they nickel and dime you to death. And it's not even enjoyable anymore. People are assholes at the airport. And it's just like, why bother?
More reasons to be a nomad.
In a way, if you're using ground travel, but even still, all travel sucks now.
So these things that we're talking about here, of course, think of those kind of like as a nomadic motivation that a nomad would be giving themselves from a kind of a self-quiz standpoint. So the first one, of course, if you're wanting to be a nomad, if you're inspired, ask yourself, am I moving towards something or away from it? Right? And then again, the freedom versus avoidance. Am I doing this type of thing? Here's another question for a prospective nomad to ask. What do you think about this, Kel? Is my life heavy for me right now? Or is this an identity heavy decision? But is your life heavy, or is your identity heavy if you're thinking about it? So now, Kel, let's talk about some hidden costs that may be involved with having a nomadic lifestyle.
There's a lot more of that than people realize.
Yeah, so let's talk about it.
They think it's cheaper.
Yeah, so I got 5 bullet points here. So let's talk about that. The first hidden cost, talk about your community loss or potential loneliness by being a nomad.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, it's speculative.
Well, sure,
because,
but you there's no question you lose connection. Some people like to be in constant contact and like to see each other, and
you're always dealing with strangers on the street. How you doing? Maybe sleeping out with the lizards at the outback or something. Now, what about the hidden cost if you have a relationship? Talk about the relationship friction.
Oh, that's
that
not
would
have
work. To be there.
That's just not
right?
going to work.
Well, because with long distance relationships, you've had a few of these, right? But somebody that's consistently gone.
Yeah, what's the point of being in a
6
relationship?
months out
Yeah,
of the
why?
year or
Why?
2 months
Why
out
would
of
you
the
be in a
year?
relationship? That's stupid.
Yeah,
there's no reason for that.
but that would definitely be some friction.
Big time.
Hidden costs for being a nomad is your health routines. You can imagine in travel, your sleep, your diet.
You
again,
have to
just
be
the stability.
scrupulous.
There's going to be these times of stress that you're dealing with. Troubleshoot. You talked about finances. Sometimes we recommend having a budget if you're going to be traveling, but sometimes things are going to happen where you have these surprise costs. Maybe your hostel went up in price in the last 2 weeks, whatever.
Well, if you do it right, you should be able to make reservations as far as that kind of thing goes. I mean, you should be, if you're living on the road, you need to be able to plan ahead to your next destination while you're at the current one.
Sometimes, though, these fees pop up and you're like, they didn't say anything like that on the website. And you're just like, hey,
and then you don't pay it.
Do you want to cancel? But then again, then you have to come up with something else to what it is that you're buying. But the point is sometimes on your finances, there's some hidden costs, and those are surprise costs, right? Now, what do you think about this? 2 words. You're a nomad. You're having to deal with this stuff. Resiliency, adaptability, and all these things. But eventually you get decision fatigue.
Constant. Of course. You're always having to plan, decide, choose. Where am I going to stay next? Where am I going to eat today? What am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Yeah, absolutely. And that, like, even when I travel just for a week or a couple days or for a convention or whatever, I act like I live there. I don't stay in vacation mode. I become a local.
I like it.
You know what I mean? Like, I unpack my clothes, hang stuff in the closet, and settle in.
Yeah.
So I don't like quick trips. I don't like 2 days.
Even though it's a temporary residence,
right?
It's still a residence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't like touristy. I don't like common. I like to hang with locals. So I'll go to local bars and clubs, not chains, where the locals go, and just talk to people.
I love it. All right, now, lightning round here. Let's say you're a nomad and this inner voice. We want to role play a nomad's inner voice based on him ascertaining whether this inner voice that's coming in is signal or noise. Remember signal versus noise? All right, so these things that are coming in, the little voice inside says, I'm finding myself Is that something that you would say he should listen to? Is that signal or is that noise?
That's noise. That
That's
whole
noise.
concept.
I'm finding myself.
That's 70s pop psychology.
Right.
And it's, I mean, yes, you're discovering who and what you are, but finding yourself, you're not lost.
It's, yeah.
I mean, you know, like
that's too bougie.
you're right here.
Yes.
Like-
All right. Now, what about this one? Signal or noise to the inner voice of the nomad when the voice says, I can't stay in one place.
That can definitely be signal.
That's what I was
Absolutely,
thinking.
that can
I
be
was
signal. I mean, you feel that. You know, I started feeling. That's why I moved to Florida.
Right.
I thought it was Reno.
Like,
was
imagine
me,
like feeling trapped.
but-
I felt trapped growing up. I needed to do something to escape, and it was sports. That was my key out.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Music for
So-
me, concerts,
Right?
traveling. I was on the quote unquote on the road.
Even though it wasn't in one place, it was can't stay.
Right.
But some people do say, I can't stay in one place. I can stay somewhere for only so long, and then I got to move on. Okay.
Well, and then I think some people probably out where they're welcome and start feeling
That could be.
societal pressure to get the hell out.
That could be
Like,
too.
look, we don't really want you here, dude.
Yeah.
You don't belong here. You have nothing to offer. Just go away.
I need to find a new jam. So, inner voice for the nomad, is this signal or noise when the voice says, remote work solved everything? Remote work solved everything.
No, I think that's probably noise. Remote work doesn't solve everything.
Yeah.
It may have for them. It may have solved an issue for them.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, these are all, of course, hypothetical, speculative.
I would say that would be signal for somebody. Like if somebody's like,
Well, this leads me to believe it's kind of inferred that they must have felt compelled to same type of thing. I can't stay in one place. So let me try remote work. And then that they found out that like, this is it. I love working for about 6 months and I need to check out. I'm already tired of people in the situation. I need a new landscape and all these different things. Remote work solved it. I can see that.
yeah, oh, absolutely.
I can see
And for
that
a lot
as
of
a
people,
signal.
that does. Especially for neurodivergence.
Right.
Remote work for neurodivergent
And
people
you can kind of
is-
slide into, again, something that works
Mhm.
for you, makes you happy, right? And you're actually performing because you don't have to worry about being burnout on something.
Right.
That you're,
You don't have like corporate work, like working in a physical office is such bullshit. 6 hours out of an 8-hour day
and they had
is
like
wasted to me.
videos of this, of course. you know, just
Absolutely.
with the,
You can show
with
it.
the
You can
conveyor
see
belt
it.
back in like the early 1900s. What they were building
That was
in
different.
the Industrial
Yeah, see, that was
Revolution.
all. Labor is different. Manufacturing is different. I'm talking office work, knowledge work, where people don't build anything, they're not creating anything, they're just
Oh,
supporting
yeah.
bullshit
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
I have seen so much in the years that I was in corporate, even back then, and we didn't have all this modern surveillance technology and mouse tracking and all of that. But back then, I remember when I was working for Brinker, for God's sake, I was making $75 an hour on this project management contract, and I would end up cleaning the kitchen because I had nothing to do.
Wow.
My CIO kept catching me cleaning the kitchen. It's like embarrassing. Like here's this.
Well, and those things they're again easily replaced. So it's not your job. It's the company's job, and they can take it away just as fast as they gave it
right.
to you.
Oh yeah, right to work. Absolutely.
Always remember
Absolutely.
that.
That is not your job. Yeah.
So now what do you think about this one? Signal versus noise for the inner voice of the nomad when the inner voice says community is overrated.
Oh, that's total noise. Total noise. Community is really, we're seeing the results of getting away from community right this minute. As society becomes more and more fragmented, more and more isolated, no.
Point is, community is extremely important.
Extremely important, more so now than ever. We need community governance groups because our governments are failing us.
Now, what about, is this signal or noise when the inner voice of a potential nomad says, I'm going to do it. I'm just being spontaneous. That's scary to me.
Yeah. Making a life decision like that.
Yeah, that's just like, kind of jumping off the high dive.
Yeah.
In a way.
No, it's just being spontaneous. No, I don't think you make a life decision to become a modern day nomad by being spontaneous.
There you go. Now, a little bit in the same area, but I think different. Signal or noise. That's the last one. When that inner voice of a prospective nomad says, I need a reset.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's signal. That's signal.
feels like.
Oh, if you're feeling that, that's your body. That's your central nervous system speaking to you through thought. Absolutely. Respect that.
Now, let's talk about, we kind of hit on it a little bit, nomads in relationships, work, and their identity. So how to do it without losing yourself. So first, romance and friendships while you're on the move. There has to be long distance expectations.
Oh, sure. Well,
Right.
I knew guys. When I was in IT, I worked with a lot of traveling salesmen who were literally on the road 5 days a week. And they did it on purpose. They liked it that way. It was the only way their relationships survived. A lot of them. They were escaping
Just
their
needed
wife and kids.
the other person in doses.
Do what?
They just kind of needed to have the other person in their life
It was
in
for
doses instead of being
Right.
continually around.
right,
Yeah.
right. And they basically used them as free labor and logistics.
Yeah.
They were
Or
secretaries.
kind of their profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, romance and friendships, when somebody's on the move all the time, the importance of broaching and talking about potential jealousy, insecurity versus the trust. right?
Absolutely. And it's always going to be a question. It's always going to be a question.
It would be hard. The first strange thing that would come, you know what I mean? You're hundreds of miles away.
Well-
You're like, that was weird.
Well, yeah, and it's
You
like
know?
what to me, if you live a nomadic lifestyle where you're on the road, you travel from place to place, why would you even have a relationship? You know what I mean? I don't understand the point unless you're using that person as an anchor to a location or just a feeling of some sort of stability. But there's really nothing there. It's a fantasy.
Well, and of course, in relationships, there's different definitions of them.
Right. Well, I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking like a marriage or
Committed.
a long term relationship, committed, monogamous relationship
How do nomads build portable communities?
online.
Especially now. How'd
Uh-huh.
they do it? How'd they do it back in the day before the internet, though?
Pen pals?
No. I think, again, they just have to hoof it.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Portable communities would just be picking up and moving to the next place and
Mhm.
picking up more people as you go.
Is Burning Man part of a portable community?
It's a temporary community. It doesn't move.
Theoretically, somebody could kind of map out a route just in general. But that's
mean,
in August. Burning Man's in August. And then every week, 52 weeks, say take 4 to 6 weeks, but map out all the other weeks and you could migrate as a nomad to these different events like Burning Man.
Right. But those aren't portable communities. Those are temporary communities that pop up that you are portable at. Like you
Well, that's true.
You know what I mean? Portable means that you pick it up and move it somewhere else. The whole thing goes. So those wouldn't be portable communities.
How many
Maybe the
people-
people you travel with,
That's what I was
if you're
getting-
traveling with a group to one to the other to the other to
That's
the
what I
other.
was getting ready to say.
Okay, that I see. But
Yeah.
the whole like event community itself would not be considered portable.
Would that qualify as like a mini cult?
No. Cult is a very specific thing. It would be a traveling community.
Traveling
Yeah.
band. Gypsies.
Yeah, gypsies.
Like
That's would be a
gypsies,
word
yeah.
for it. Or
Last one under the romance and friendships while a nomad is on the move. Have communication systems that reduce drama. For example, again, back to that jealousy thing, I would say that would be something pretty important,
oh gosh, yeah.
right? That if for some reason, if I don't have cell coverage and you contact me or whatever, I think it would be a good idea to have the onus on the person that's actually the one that's doing the traveling versus the one that's kind of home base somewhere. Like the person that's doing the traveling
Needs to be the main communicator, the main
Consistently.
initiator of the
Yep.
communication. Absolutely.
consistently.
Absolutely.
What do you think about this question? Can a person be a nomad and still be dependable?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, as long as you know their schedule, know where they're at, how to reach them. With online nowadays and cell technology,
Uh-huh.
sure. I always worked, even when I was still in corporate, even if I was out of town on personal time, I could check email. I would keep up because the problem was if you didn't, when you got back, you'd have this barrage of bullshit to deal with that just backed up while you were gone. Nobody does anything for you when you're gone.
Right.
They just let your work stack up. So I prefer to work 24/7 just to keep up
6 days, you'd have 600 extra emails according to your average.
Oh, lucky them. I'd have at least 2,000. I get 300 emails a day.
That's
minimum.
what you were saying.
Yeah.
All right. So let's transition from relationships, love and relationships for nomads to work and career for nomads. So, of course, we talked about it would work for people with contract work, people that are part of the gig economy.
Freelancers.
Funny enough, consulting,
Absolutely.
consulting advising
Absolutely.
that we do. What do you think about a nomad that has the capability, that has reinventing themselves as a skill?
Why? Why do you
Because
need to reinvent yourself so often?
Well, I'm just saying, what do you think about somebody that would have that ability? Like if they traveled as a nomad to different cultures and they have that skill to be able to reinvent themselves for
Okay, no. That's playing different roles. To me, reinventing yourself is a whole overhaul of who you are and who you were and your identity.
Yeah, that's true.
What you're talking about is role playing archetypes.
Yeah.
And
Or
how to
maybe
be
it's more of-
social chameleon.
Or yeah, that's a good one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I think it is more.
Oh yeah,
more of
I
an
do that. I can do that.
adaptability.
Sure.
Kind of vein.
Oh yeah,
I would like a person like that.
I do.
that
Yeah, I do too.
Like
That can
when
just
they're in Ireland,
win
when
in
they
Rome.
do-
It's very much the win in Rome
Exactly.
attitude. I've always had that.
Yes.
It annoys me coming, to a place like Reno now that's been invaded by
Mhm.
all these other out of
Demographics.
staters,
Yeah.
demographics. That's a good way to put it. That don't have any concept of assimilating to our culture. Reno is a very specific place and had
Yeah,
a
they
very
don't-
specific culture. And they came and said they bitched about where they were coming from and then diluted it with their same bullshit and then wonder why everything sucks.
They don't know nor care about the history.
About
They
anything,
just
about the
want-
vibe, about the feeling, about
Yeah.
how things are here. No, they come in and want to change it. They want to bulldoze it down. And that's clearly worked.
To what they moved away from.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, real smart there. All right. So let's see. Do you think, speaking of that, is being a career nomad, is it strategic or unstable?
It depends. Depends on what you do. It can be, I think it's unstable if you're under a certain age and experience level. And I think over a certain age and experience level, it can be highly beneficial to your clients.
And I think, yeah, the unstable, I look at somebody that's like just older, and we have some homeless, of course, here. And I can't help but think, not trying to be cruel, but when I see that, I'm just like, okay, there was somewhere along the line, there were some poor decisions there.
Absolutely.
Because it's not about not respecting somebody being a nomad, but I think it's something that they should do. If they're going to do it out of choice and do it when you're young.
Oh, sure.
By the time that you're old, because if you don't take care of that business, or if you don't have a plan, a safety net when you are in those older years, then you're a burden on society.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And so,
Then you get entitled. You get entitled and expectant in victim mode, like it's been done to you. The system, the man, corporate, the cabal. You start blaming all these external things because you cannot reconcile the fact that you failed and failed miserably.
right.
And there is a contingent of society that will feel sorry for you and support that, which is a shame. It's diminishing faster and faster, which I'm happy to see. I think charity is one of the worst. Corporate charity is one of the worst programs that we've ever done.
Yeah. I mean, because
Charity was always supposed to be communal.
yeah, exactly. Private sector.
And that became the charity industrial complex. And it created an absolute society full of victims.
Yeah. Speaking on the reinventing thing, let's say there's a person that's always trying to reinvent themselves. So how do they build credibility if they're always new?
They don't. It's
Right.
very, very difficult. The only
Yeah.
way to do it is to be so hyper competent in what it is that you're transitioning to that you're undeniable. Otherwise, you just look chaotic.
Now, some people are rooted. That's their identity. That's passed along to them. Some people have explorer identities. Maybe that's perpetuated by being part of a family that travels all the time. And even when they're young kids, they're 6 years old, 8 years old, and their parents had the wherewithal to be able to take them to Rome.
That was me. I was very fortunate. My parents were, they weren't into stuff. They were into experiences. We had plenty of stuff, but travel was such a big thing to my mother. I'm very fortunate with that.
Now, I can only imagine, but some nomads are identity refugees. They move because they don't like who they are at the home that they're at.
Right. That's a great point. That's a really good point. You change based on the environment you're in, and there aren't many that can hold their own line in whatever, make the environment adapt to them. It's an energetic thing. They get into a situation or environment or whatever, and they let it change them and shape them rather than the other way around.
Them being true, to themselves, and
a lot of performative.
Let the chips fall where they may. I'm kind of like Popeye. I am what I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then that's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother identity thing too, where people get rooted in their story. Oh, this is just the way I am. Oh, it's just the way I am. It's just the way it is. Oh, I've always been this way. Well, change it. It's not working for you anymore.
Exactly. Now, what do you think about this? So we're going to go into what's the verdict. So thumbs up or thumbs down, and a quick description of why. So the first one, statement. Most nomads are escaping something.
Oh, for sure.
Thumbs up on that one.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, whether it's routine, whether it's people, whether it's a situation, whether it's themselves, absolutely.
Yeah, it could be, and it could be the cabal.
Maybe it is the cabal. Maybe it's CIA. Maybe who knows? Maybe it's Andrew Bustamante.
Okay, here we go. What's the verdict on this one? You can't grow without stability. You can't grow without stability.
Yeah, there has to be a certain amount of stability.
Right.
Because otherwise, I mean, you think about metaphorical soil with roots.
Right.
A seed grows and it grows roots. If you don't have a foundation of some sort, it's going to be...
Maybe a better way to phrase that would have been, you can't grow void of stability. Same thing.
Basically the same thing. But yeah, there has to be some, it doesn't have to be granite rock stable, but you definitely need a foundation from whatever you're trying to build from, even if it's only temporary for that particular whatever, but you've got to have a certain level of stability.
Now, what about this one? What's the verdict? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Freedom is worth the trade-off. I know freedom can be subjective.
Primarily thumbs up. I think that's mostly a thumbs up. It can bite you in the ass, but no, I think for the most part.
Kind of like, I think a way, again, not getting into politics, but the freedoms that we have in this country, in spite of our issues, no doubt about that, but the freedom that we have in this country as compared to other countries, the trade-off that we experience all the time is just the dang corruptness of our government. And so I guess that's what I come up with. First of all, I mean, that's a trade-off, right? Because kind of like we want people to go to jail. Nobody's supposed to be above the law. But when we have these observations, that's not actually true in the application.
I don't think that's just this country. I think that's
for
global.
Sure.
That's global.
But that's what I'm saying.
People are
our freedoms as compared to other countries that even fly under the flag of democracy and stuff like that. We have way more freedoms than...
I think it's illusionary. I think it's very illusionary.
We talked about that one time too, about how this is illusion. Like, we think we have freedom, but when it all comes down to it, if we do something from free will, and if we do the wrong thing with our free will, they'll put us in a cage.
By your petard.
Yeah, we're going to be put in a cage. So yeah, it's kind of like that classic. I have a picture of, I think it's like 3 sheep, and they're standing in front of a fence. There's like 3 sides to the fence, and they could escape, but they think that
Right. It's like the fleas that only jump so high when there's a lid, and you take the lid off, and they only go. Yeah, absolutely. And then then that gets genetically embedded so that their offspring, without the lid ever being there, will only jump to the same level.
I like this, where this part of the conversation is going. So let's think of it like this. We live in a place, we live in a world where back in the day, by force, somebody could come and rampage our village, and all of a sudden we're in some wagon and they take us off to be slaves somewhere. that happen.
Well, that's, I mean,
Well, hold on.
think.
I know.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm like,
Okay, finish it.
so what if our illusion of freedom came down to the basics of this? Is that at any time, sometimes if you do something wrong, or sometimes if you didn't do something wrong, but you're in the wrong place, the wrong time, it didn't look good for you, that you can be put in a cage,
No question.
right?
Happened to me.
And so the freedom or the illusion of it is worth it as a trade-off. The kind of, I guess the trade-off, I'm having a bad time articulating this, I apologize. But the freedom of adhering to the rules of law is worth that trade-off to enjoy whatever freedom.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there have to be rules.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's happened is, I mean, our founding fathers gave us the map. They gave us a beautiful blueprint.
Right.
The Constitution is nearly ideal as written. And
as compared to other nations.
well, not even that. It's been bastardized and trampled so badly by the idiots that are in office today that don't even read the fucking thing.
Right. They didn't even know the shit they are about.
Yeah, they have no idea.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so far away from its principles and tenets that if we just shake off the dust and go back and just follow it,
Right.
we could straighten shit out.
But you're saying freedom's worth the trade-off.
Yes.
And that, yeah,
I
think so
agree.
too.
I absolutely agree.
Took us a while.
Because we need
Get around that.
we need I mean, there has to be collective agreement about certain levels of what's acceptable, what's behavioral patterns and in public that we all need to respect. Like, I don't know, I can't imagine anybody not understanding that.
Yeah, well, they're out there. That's for sure.
I
That's why we have
think
those,
they understand it. They just don't want to comply.
exactly, and that's why we have those cages. Because sometimes you have to put a dog down.
Yeah, no question.
Now, what about this one? Okay, what's the verdict? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Modern nomad life is mostly a social media illusion.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely it is. There is so much egoic show off. Look at me, I'm a digital nomad. And the reality underneath it is not what people think.
What about this one? What's the verdict? Community matters more than adventure.
Not always. Mostly, I would say mostly, if you had to choose between one or the other.
Yeah.
Community is better,
Yeah.
but
Community matters more than adventure.
yeah. But to an individual, perhaps not.
Yeah. What's the verdict? A home base is non-negotiable. I mean, of course, if you're going to have a nomad, you got to at least have a home base. That's non-negotiable. You have to have a home base, even if it's mom's house.
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I would absolutely have to.
I would have to
I would
have a
have
home
to.
base.
You need an
Yeah.
address.
Yeah.
You need, I mean, at least in America, you need a physical, legal address if you want to stay an American resident. You need certain documentation. You need, and in order to have that, you have to have an address. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine
Having a home.
not having
Yeah.
some sort, even if it's a PO box somewhere. You've got to
Gotta
have
have some
some
place to go
route
back to, yeah.
somewhere that
Exactly.
you.
The last one. What's the verdict? Some people are simply wired to roam.
I think so.
Now, let's go into matters of fact here. So some practical tools for a nomadic life with some discipline and peace, right? Because you have to have that. You're not going to last very long. Okay, so matters of fact. Again, we've talked about this. Talk about humans regulate better with routines. I know you're not all about routines. You like to change it up and stuff. But
I
we're
do, but
talking basic
I do
things.
like certain
Sleep,
routine and
food,
ritual. Absolutely.
Sleep, food, movement, right? Things.
And regulation, like regulatory, breath work and things to stress reduction.
Right. Now, isolation, another matter of fact, isolation increases stress over time, right? So if you're by yourself, your isolation, and over time, your stress is going to increase. And what this made me think of, and I know you don't watch a lot of movies, but you have to remember this story, true story, ended tragically. Kid, I think he graduated from Brown. Right after graduation, boom, he goes on he's in hiding. His parents are trying to find him, but he goes and he starts on this nomadic journey. So all the way from the East Coast, he travels over here to the West Coast, has some stuff in Arizona, but his big thing in the end. So this took a couple years for him to do this. So he gets a job moving up north, but his ultimate goal was to eventually be in Alaska and live off the land, right? Just be by himself, get away from people. Again, it's extremely intelligent. He finally makes it up there, and he's doing his thing. He's up there for a couple years. Again, it's a story where he found this abandoned bus.
Okay.
And he turns that into his home.
Okay.
Right? So that was his sanctuary. And so he, at some point, started journaling, and he made the decision to come back because of this statement right here. And it was in his journal. He said, happiness not shared. Empty.
Yeah, I was going to say it has to be to do with it being shared.
Yeah, happiness without being shared.
I used to feel that way. I don't anymore.
So because again, he talked about some amazing things. I mean, he's got a bear in front of him. He thinks he's going to die. You know, all these little adventures that he has. You can imagine.
Sure.
He's out and it doesn't get much rougher than that. Mm-mm. So, but in the end, tragically, when he decided to come back, he was going to come back home, and he accidentally ingested some poison mushrooms.
Oh, you're kidding. What's the name of the movie?
Into the Wild.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Emil Hirsch, I think, is the main actor. It was a great movie.
Wow.
I would absolutely recommend it. But of course, tragic ending. But that was a badass nomad. Right
there's
there.
that Tom Hanks one too, where he ends up on the deserted island.
Oh, where like Wilson.
Yeah. What was that called?
Castaway.
Castaway.
So now, what about this one? Now, matters of fact. Novelty is energizing in the short term, but it's exhausting in the long term.
Absolutely, it is.
Especially
We're not built
without
for
structure.
Humans aren't built for constant novelty.
Right.
We are built to take time, to ingest, to integrate, to experience. You know, we are not built for this constant. That's why things are so fucked up now with the internet and all this, you know, squirrel shit.
It's funny, like in the beginning of this episode when I asked you how would you a euphemism for nomad, and then we went into the vagabond, and you said wanderer. Read this right here. I said belonging is a core human need. So that's the matter of fact. And then in parentheses I said even for wanderers.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
And
even
all those
know.
all those who wander are not lost.
Yeah. So belonging is a core human need, right? So,
oh yeah.
All right. So now some tools. We try to create some tools for people. So if there's anybody out there says, you know, I'm young, I'm able, have a few bucks in the bank, I think I'm going to be a nomad for a couple of years. We're going to give you some tools, and the tools are going to help you be a nomad without falling apart.
Okay.
So it's a checklist. 5 anchors. Number 1 is you want to have, again, whether you're home or especially on the road, right, to your point, wherever you are, wherever you're staying, wherever you're living, that's your resident.
Right.
Right. And so you have some home-based rituals, no matter where you're at. Right.
Yep.
And we do. You should get up and brush your teeth. You know what I mean? All those morning rituals, but always have a home-based ritual. You get home at the end of the day, even if it's temporary, same morning routine anywhere in the world. Right. You have your morning routine.
Absolutely, I do.
Coffee.
Very much so. I do my exercises now that it's getting warm again and I can go out on the balcony and do my exercise. I do that in the morning. When it's cold, I end up putting it off and just doing it at night before I go to bed. But now that the weather is breaking, now that summer hit just in time for my birthday this week, it's going to be 90 degrees next week.
I was talking about, let's get these things set up, start using them.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So the other anchor number 2 is people anchor. If you're going to be a nomad, you need some people anchors. And what we mean by that, 3 safe contacts that you keep up with weekly. It's like, I'm going to call you every 2 days. If I don't call you every 2 days, something's wrong.
Something's up.
And so, 3 people. Money anchors. Having a weekly budget with an emergency buffer.
Yep.
You don't have your emergency buffer, you don't go.
You just don't do it. Yeah.
You don't go. That means that you got to do some more work. You got to put some more in the till before you're doing it. Always have that emergency buffer.
Oh, yeah.
Body anchors, which have it as a sleep window along with a minimum movement standard, right? So we talked about movement. Just don't move, but at a minimum every single day, whether there's steps,
Sure.
your calisthenics,
Tai
things
Chi,
like
yeah.
that. And again, a sleep window. I mean, it's hard for me to get to 8 hours now.
Oh,
But I'm like between 5 to 7.
Me too.
Just all depends. But yeah, have that body anchor, have an established sleep window along with some minimum movement standards. Okay, and number 5, I think you're going to like it. If you're going to be a nomad, have an anchor that's a meaning anchor, where it's your one purpose of why you're doing that you project everywhere you go.
Whatever
Everywhere you
that
go.
is.
Where's the corny, just like, I'm just out living
I'm
life
just-
and enjoying it.
Right.
Whatever it is, you project. So I think that's important.
I do too.
Your why.
Your
right?
why. With anything. I mean, that's important with anything.
Exactly.
And
Now,
it can't be about somebody else.
so again, to finish up on this, if there's anybody out there that's thinking about it, again, it's a crazy world out there. It's a dangerous world out there.
It really is. Probably not as dangerous as some people want to project. I don't think it's any more dangerous today than it has been over
Yeah.
time. It
So
has shifted.
There's a percentage of people like Cain and Abel,
Mhm.
right? There's a percentage of people that they just don't give a F.
Right.
Sometimes they do bad things.
Sure.
Sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. If you're on an African safari, there's true stories.
Yeah, but
Lions hunting humans.
they're not. Lions don't hunt humans. Humans agitate them
Those were
and
crazy
get their
lions.
get their asses in trouble.
Those were very special, crazy lions. But true story. Val Kilmer. What was the name of that one? Something in the 90s. All right. So listener challenge. So are you a roots person or a routes person? And so this week, the challenge is for them, whichever one you are, borrow one habit from the other side, Cal. If you're a roots person, borrow a habit from somebody that's nomadic.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you're
If
the
you're
opposite, if you're a nomadic person,
find something
find
to
something.
respect about.
Yeah, from the roots. Okay. So again, we kind of threw this together today, but what are your final thoughts, comments about what's the matter with nomads?
You gave me some good perspectives. Like you came up with some good points, things I didn't think about necessarily, just ways to think about it. It fascinates me. I'd love to be able to try it. I don't know how long I would keep up with it.
Start out with 3 days.
Well, no, I could do like a week or, a couple weeks at a time, even a month at a time, but I would have to have long stretches back home too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't just go trip to trip to trip to trip to trip.
Back to back.
Mm-mm. And I couldn't go from location to location to location either. Like, wouldn't want to do Florida, then Alabama, then Texas, then Arizona in a couple days at a time, that kind of thing. I wouldn't want to do that either. I would want to go somewhere planned that I knew I was going to stay for a while, get the lay of the land.
Right.
And
Sounds
just-
like a year's journey.
No, I wouldn't put a time limit on it because it would be occupational. It would be for wherever I would be going, I would be working.
Would you like to do it on the fly? So nothing planned. You're just like, I'm going to head northeast. No, it's
I would
gotta be
have to have
mapped out.
Yes, a plan. I like to, at least a general one. Like,
Yeah.
I don't ever plan when I go on a trip somewhere. Okay, now this day we're going to do this, and this day we're going to do this. Even at conferences where I think I'm going to go to this talk and this presenter and this workshop, I even blow that stuff off. So it's, that's the beauty of it. It's about the flexibility.
I love it. All right. Well, heck, episode 47, Cal. What's the Matter podcast show. Today we explored nomads, past and present. What a life built on movement really means. With survival, identity, economics, search for belonging. Talked about fantasy versus reality, hidden costs. We gave you guys some tools to help you stay grounded, even when your location changes. Because no matter where you go, you still have to bring you with you, right? Big thank you to our sponsor, World Matters Incorporated, and the creator and producer of the show, Big Bongo Productions. We'll be back next Wednesday. We may not be in this room. I bet we're not in this room, Kel. Going to be in the other room over there. Same time, same location. Here, and then we haven't even got a name for the studio yet. But episode 48. What do you think about this one? What's the matter with winning? Why do we strive to win in competition, in love, in life? What do we really get out of it? What do we really learn when we lose? Kel and I are going to keep it real like we always do. We're going to laugh, maybe cry, some of those laughing cricket jokes like I did today. And we'll leave you with, again, tools to win without letting that scoreboard become your identity. So until then, be vigilant, be kind, and always remember that what you say matters. This is G-Man for Kel. See ya!